In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your window regulator and motor on your Ford Taurus. It's located inside your door. Okay, so we're going to remove, there's usually a little plastic grommet thing. You're going to take that out so you can access that screw, and we're going to also take off the door panel. All right, so we're going to take out our screws out of the door panel using a Phillips head screwdriver, or if you have a drill, you can use a drill with an extension on it. Now we're going to go around the door panel and find the rest of them. I'm going to go underneath. There's one over there. Okay, so, and then we're going to take a short screwdriver and undo this last one. And put that off to the side. Now we're going to take out this bolt up here using a 6mm socket. All right, so now you're going to slide your trim tool in the door panel, right at this top corner. And so take it out of the fastener and then work your way down. At this point, I usually go by feel. I run my finger down and then I find the next one. Sometimes you can give it a good yank and it'll come out. Other times you need a trim tool, depending on the door panel. This one looks like you can probably give it a good yank. And now I'm going to work my way to on the bottom and over to the side. So you're just going to pull it. Okay, so now we're going to take this off just by sliding your trim tool in. Just to give you a little access. There is a little screw down here that we have to take off. Okay, take that out. All right, so once you get to this point, you're going to slide the door panel this way, like that, to unhook it from the door handle. If you haven't already put your window up, you're going to want to reconnect your switch with your harness, and then turn the key on to put your window up. If your window is stuck down, you're going to have a friend help you manually pry it up. All right, so now we're going to unplug our mirror by pushing in that tab, making it come free. We're going to use a trim tool and pop the harness out. Pop this harness out. And now we're going to peel back this shield. Try to keep the black stuff either on the door or on the, just keep it somewhat where it lives, whether it's on the plastic or the door, because you're going to reuse it to re-stick it if it's still sticky enough to use. All right, so here's your window regulator. I like to make sure it's the right part before beginning. This piece is here, held in with 2 bolts. This piece is for the window, so it runs along here. And then this scissor mechanism, when activated by the motor, makes it go up and down. So It's held in with 4 rivets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are located one here, one here, one here, and one here. All right, so we're going to lower the window down till we can see the rivets or bolts. This vehicle has rivets. Okay, I see one here and I see one here. So this is a good height to take the window out. What I like to do also is I put a piece of wood in the door panel. And I like to make sure there's something holding my window up while I take out those rivets. So you can use a piece of wood, just find whatever you can. The next thing we're going to do is disconnect our electricity connector and undo the rivets. And then we'll tape up the window so it's out of our way. All right, so now we can disconnect our door from the harness. Now that we have our window in position, we'll set that off to the side. All right, using a 6mm socket, you're gonna disconnect your speaker. This is optional. I like to do it so I can see in there better and have more room. It doesn't take much to take these out. The speakers do have magnets, so you're going to find yourself sticking to the door probably. So you can disconnect that, set it off to the side. So now that I've taken out that speaker, you have an easier time undoing this connector. There we go. Use a flathead screwdriver if it's stuck. All right, so now we're going to take off the rest of this plastic. Fold this up a little, take it out of my way. All right, so you're going to want to tape the window up. This is a temporary tape for now, because we're going to have to move the window up after we take the rivets out, most likely. Maybe not, but most likely. And one over here, just for good measure. We're going to drill off the heads of the rivets. Okay, so once you get the head off the rivet, give that a bang. So now I'm just going to pop out the center. And our window should be free from the regulator. Punch out the center on the other side as well. Once you do that, now your window is free from the regulator. All right, so now we are going to lower the regulator. The window should stay in place when we do that. So we're gonna attach our door panel one more time. Okay, so you're gonna wanna plug in your motor one more time. All right, so now we're going to lower our regulator down, and the window should stay where it is. You may have to guide it a little bit, or not. All right, so there we are. I would probably put it about there. So now you're going to disconnect all 3 wiring harness connectors, and the one in the motor as well. All right, so we are going to drill out our 4 rivets now. All right, last one. There we go. Sometimes you got to use a cold chisel to get the rest of it off. go. All right, so now we can take these bolts out using an 11mm socket. You can put those bolts off to the side. And now we can take out our regulator through this hole. So I have my hand through the other end to guide the motor out. All right, there you have it. I'm gonna squeeze it through. Just lay it down. Make sure the whole thing is in. And we're gonna start with these bolts here. Just gonna hand tighten those for now. All right, so now we're gonna pick up our regulator on the inside and line up our holes for the rivets. I have one rivet ready. All right, so now we're gonna line up our rivet holes with the new regulator motor. I'm gonna use a punch to line up my holes, just to get things started. At least one here and one on the top. As you can see, I put a piece of wood behind here to help keep my motor flush against the door panel. That might help you at home. All right, so here we are. We're gonna do our first rivet. You gotta use a heavy-duty rivet gun and 1/4" rivets for this. All right, so now you can do the same to all the others. I would start at the opposite corner for your next one. Okay, so now you're on your last one. So once you're done with that, you can go back to your bolts over here and tighten those up. I would say a little bit more than wrist tight, maybe 1/4 turn after wrist tight. All right, so now you can remove your wood if you used it. And now we're going to plug in our motor so we can make the regulator go up and meet the window. All right, so now we can plug in our motor with our extra long wire that they gave us. And we're going to plug in our door panel. So we are going to hit the up button on our regulator. And I'm going to watch through this hole or the other hole. This one's easier because it's closer to where you're sitting. And I'm going to watch for it to line up. And when it lines up, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go down. Sometimes it takes a little finesse. If you can wiggle the window a little bit. All right, so once you're lined up with that hole, you can slide your rail over. Make sure that lines up. And make sure the other side lines up. If it doesn't, you might have to shimmy it up a little bit. All right, so this vehicle had rivets holding the glass in that bracket, so we're gonna replace the rivets with nuts and bolts, just because you're never gonna be able to get a rivet gun through here. And you can use nuts and bolts, so it's no big deal. You're gonna put your head side opposite of you, and the nut facing you. The reason is you need clearance when you go up and down. There's one side, and I'll just give you a reference of how long my bolt is and my nut. And now I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to use a 10mm wrench on the back side, on the head of the bolt, just to hold it still, and a 10mm socket with an extension on the front side. So now we're just going to tighten up this bolt. Again, I would go wrist tight and then another quarter of a turn. And now you can do the same on the other side. All right, so now we're going to take the tape off our window. Okay, at this point, you're going to make sure everything's reconnected. So our motor's connected. Put your plastic back in the right place to connect your mirror. All right, so we're going to connect our speaker. And then we're going to bolt our speaker back. Using a 6mm socket, we're going to tighten up those bolts. Wrist tight. Now we're going to put our plastic back over here slightly so we can connect our mirror. Okay, so now at this point we can put this back there and re-stick our door panel water protector. You can do that just by pushing down firmly. I'm going to feed our door lock rod through that. Just make sure you're not covering up anything important when you are putting this back, like access holes to things and, you know, grommet areas, because that would be annoying if you're trying to unhook the door panel for something else. Okay, and then we're going to put this back in its home. All right, so we're going to connect all our connectors back. And then we're going to swing our door panel around. Upside down to right side up. Put our padding back in. And start to line everything up. So that means your door handle needs to come through. So we're going to pull that out. Your rod for the door lock has to be fed through the top here. Okay, once you get that, you're going to try to get that clip back there and slide the door a little back into the clip. Then you're going to line up your top grommet there. If you're having trouble keeping your door lock where it belongs for the final push, you can put your plastic piece back on it and that'll extend it up higher. Okay, so now it's time, now that you have somewhat the door panel back on, you don't want to go too far. You definitely want to put this triangle piece on first, since the panel goes on top. So you're going to start your bolt there. I'm going to use a 6mm socket. Tighten that up. Make sure your wire is fed where it belongs. And I'm going to line up our other screw and use a socket to get it started so you can reach in there. And now we can tighten that down, hand tight. Wrist tight, I mean. All right, so now we can put the rest of the door panel on, lining up the grommets. Working your way around to the bottom. Putting that back. And now we can put our screws in. I'm going to start with this one up here, just so we can hold it in place. And that's that. All right, so we're going to check our window out. Looks like it's working great. All right, now do the same on the other side.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.